You all thought I was gonna do something bad to these boxes, but I would never make a joke about hurting an animal. That's so messed up. And I despise anyone that does that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because you haven't seen the first unboxing I did like last week or something. If you want to watch that, I recommend it, but you don't have to understand this video. You just might not get everything that I'm talking about. Also, I get more views if you watch both videos. So it was completely wrong of me to make a joke about hurting an animal. I will never do it again, even if it's fake, even if it's just ink. It's messed up and it's not encouraging to people. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. But yeah, in the first video, I unboxed 6 reptiles because we take in any animal that anyone needs to rehome from anywhere in the USA through the site Emerald Scales. I am so tired of saying the name of my company, but that is okay. I will keep saying it because it'll make me more money. Now, in reality, a lot of people think that I make a ton of money from selling these animals, and it's actually the smallest part of my income because it is not very profitable at all, and I don't recommend it as a living. So I'm actually gonna do a video probably next. Oh wait, I just started stacking the boxes. I'm not allowed to stack the boxes? What do you mean I'm not allowed to stack the boxes? Okay, I know they're still stacked, but they're not gonna fall this time because I'm not shaking the table violently. Anyway, but a lot of people do actually think that my main source of income is selling animals, so I am going to do a video dedicated to exactly how much money I've made selling animals over the past 2 years. Basically, that's your incentive to subscribe and watch for that new video. Hopefully it'll be out within a couple weeks. The last video got a lot of complaints. Another one was the fact that I used a knife instead of a box cutter because the knife is too big. You really need to calm down. I'm not going to do anything to possibly harm any of these animals, and you're going to have to trust me on that. This is so stupid. This first one is an animal that we've only gotten once. This is hard. This knife is really dull. Okay, the first one is one that we've only had one of, and I actually really liked it. I really wanted to keep it, but I didn't have space at the time. This one's obviously small, but it gets pretty big. These animals are sent overnight via FedEx Priority Mail. Believe it or not, it's a lot safer than people think. Now, one of the dumbest comments I've ever seen in my life is people saying they're gonna buy an animal from a pet store instead of us, solely which is fine if you don't wanna buy from us. There's plenty of people you can buy from, but they're gonna buy from a pet store instead of online because they don't want it shipped. They wanna put it in their car after they drive to the store, put it in their car, drive home, and then it's never shipped. How do you think it gets to the pet store? Let's go over some little industry secrets, shall we? Now, I have not worked at a pet store, but because I have kind of like a lot of people in this community, I get to hear a lot about how things work. And one of those is how animals get to pet stores. They are sent en masse in boxes. It's just a lot of huge boxes. These animals, if they're sent from the big suppliers that we've talked about, they don't have heating, they don't have cooling, they might not even have styrofoam. They're simply all thrown into bags and put in the box. Believe it or not, animals that are sold at Petco and PetSmart cost the store between $2 and $10 to get. A ball python might be $5 to $10, and they sell it for $50. A fancy ball python might cost them $10 to $15, or fancy, and they might sell it for $249.99 at the store. So what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter if animals die according to the pet store because they're so cheap. What I'm trying to say is this is the safest way to get your animal delivered, because although the one that you're getting from the pet store, it didn't die on the way, there are many of its friends that probably did die in the box. Meanwhile, these animals are packaged individually in small boxes with their own heating and cooling, and they're only shipped when the weather is okay. Other companies don't look at the weather, they just ship and see if it survives. So, you know, a little food for thought. Okay, he's adorable. Look at this man. This is a redfoot tortoise. We had one other redfoot named Squash, who I drove to Virginia to pick him up because unfortunately the person owning him and a couple of the animals didn't have time for him since he was pursuing, I think, a doctorate in college, and it was just taking too much time I'm excited about this little one. When you get this many animals in, it can be hard to get excited over certain animals, but a redfoot's something that I definitely think is really cool. So he's nice and warm, the heat pack was working well, and that shipping was just fine on him. But redfoot tortoises are definitely a favorite. They don't get as big as sulcatas, they get bigger than Russians, they're nice in between. I think they're really cool. If I were to keep a tortoise for myself, I think it would be a redfoot. Just look at them, they're so bright. They got those bold colors all over their legs. Really cool shell, and this one looks beautiful. It's super healthy, perfect shell if you ask me, and very energetic. And as you can see from this example, he's not showing any signs of stress. Boink. Oh, he didn't like that. Boink. There we go, that's better. The second box here is from North Carolina, which is only a couple hours away, so from me, since I'm also in North Carolina. Now, some people forget to write what's actually in the box. They did remember, and they taped the heat pack on really well, so that's good to see. Funnily enough, both heat packs were taped way better than the last order, and this is actually really nice padding. I'm wondering if these people watched the video of the last unboxing, and if they did, it worked, because these are all packaged perfectly so far. And this is an adorable little corn snake, very little, like super little. Probably the smallest corn snake we've had. He looks very thin. So condition-wise, we do our best to always make sure we know exactly what we're getting. I'm actually gonna leave this one in the deli cup because we wanna make sure there's nothing contagious or anything that can spread in FedEx. Like if your animal has mites, we won't take it until the mites are completely clear because we don't want those mites to get out of the box and to another animal, because that would kind of suck. Same thing with airborne illnesses, stuff like that. We really avoid shipping those until those issues are fixed. Of course, people can lie about it, and it's extremely rare. We've had maybe 2 or 3 people severely lie about the condition of the animal, which really sucks. Don't do that or you will be blacklisted from the company. You will not be able to buy, sell, or work with any of us. So I don't recommend that. Be honest about it and we'll work with you as it goes. Don't lie to us because we're watching you. This person is fine though. This corn snake does look a little thin, but I think we'll be good. And this might actually just be what very tiny corn snakes look like, because it's something that is gonna be a new experience for me. Even though I've gotten a lot of corns, this is a tiny one, which is cool to see. This is the third and final small box we've got. This one's coming from New York, and it's the most common species we get. The most common we get are bearded dragons, ball pythons, and leopard geckos probably. Let's see what we've got in this one. This person didn't quite follow instructions. In their packet it says do not cover the red line of the pack. They did cover it, but it's still warm, so it should be fine. They use newspaper as padding, which is good. It is breathable. I haven't even opened this bag, and this is a ball python. It's extremely thin. So let's check it out. I'm actually gonna pull up the email for this person. Here's what this person said about the snake that they sent. Hello, I have a baby ball python. It hasn't eaten since I've bought him, and that is mid-August. Okay, that gives a good idea of what we're working with. I've tried everything except live. I don't have easy access to live. He's skinny and I don't want him to die. How can I go about rehoming him? So the reason we are comfortable taking this is because they did not try live, and that's usually an easy fix. We can access live rodents if we need to. If you don't know, ideally your animals, specifically snakes, will feed on frozen thawed rodents instead of live, because live rodents have quite a few risks while feeding. It's worse for the rodent, it's more dangerous for the animal, and it's going to be more expensive for you. So I have nail clippers to try and get the zip tie off. Now, if this person said that it wouldn't eat anything and they've tried literally everything, including live, we'd be a little more wary taking it in. But the most likely chance, which we've had a lot, is the person bought it from someone that claimed or pretended it was unfrozen thawed, but it actually only eats live. Or maybe they forgot to ask, and then it simply wouldn't switch over, because a lot of animals do not like switching from live to frozen. So the likelihood of that is pretty high. If not, we do have more resources we can use, like vets, and oh god, this person waited way too long. So another fun fact about this is they did not send an updated picture of this animal. We do our best to make sure the pictures are up to date, and the most recent condition. If you can tell, I'm very upset and very disappointed right now in the condition of this animal. Being honest about an animal's condition is always, you gotta be careful about it, especially in front of that person. And I'm just gonna assume the person's watching, but also I don't want to sugarcoat this condition at all. The likelihood of this animal surviving is super tiny. We have kind of a line that we've seen with extremely malnourished animals, specifically snakes, where once they're past that certain line, no matter what we do, they just decline. Even if they get vet help, even if they get meds, it's just pretty hopeless. And this one is under that line, meaning that if you were to make me bet or guess, I would guess this animal is not going to survive. It is more active than every other snake we've gotten that's this thin. You can see he's moving around a lot, and that's actually really good to see, but he looks terrible. I'm actually not even comfortable feeding this animal any rodents. Think about if the snake were to try and eat a live mouse. I think it wouldn't even be able to bite hard enough for the mouse to kill it. I mean, for him to kill the mouse. And the mouse would probably just end up killing him. So thankfully we have liquid syringes that we can feed them. So once he gets a little bit of time to rest in his new enclosure, we're gonna go ahead and feed him that. I think that would be best. This is concerning. So in the last video, I thought I should give an update. There was a snake that looked super weird. It's like it had a spider gene or something. And so a lot of people were worried that it had inclusion body disease, which is extremely contagious. Now we confirmed that it does not have IBD. The way we knew this is because we confirmed with the owner that it had none of those conditions or signs before it was shipped. Even if that person was lying, which I'm 99% sure they were not, because we talked to them a lot and they were very on top of things. They had a lot of proof of other good care. So it definitely does not have IBD, which is awesome. We can also tell because at this point it's actually gotten a little better simply by letting it rest. And on top of that, it probably would have gotten way worse by now if it had inclusion body disease. So our best guess of what happened is the heat pack in that box actually fell on the snake. We're wondering if it overheated and it caused some sort of issue physically. Thankfully, it's doing a lot better. It does not have inclusion body disease. But back to this snake, I don't think this update's gonna be good. But again, we've dealt with it before. We know the steps, we improve every time. We'll see how this one does. I'm gonna very carefully put him back in the same bag, get him into his enclosure as soon as I'm done because he looks bad. Yeah, I hate to be that blunt about the fact that I basically just said the snake is probably gonna die. I hope I'm wrong, but realistically, I think, I don't know, it'll be interesting, we'll find out. Although I'm very bummed out by that last animal because that's really annoying and upsetting, I am glad that they sent it to us. We'll do everything we can, but I don't know, once I see certain cases frequently enough, you know how it goes, even like no matter how much professional help you get, because we're not licensed people, but even with that licensed help, it's often hopeless. In fact, I'm not sure if going to a vet has ever actually saved an animal for us. We've used very good vets, including vets at NC State, which is the prime place for exotic animals. So yeah, this person shipped well. They covered the heat pack. I genuinely think these people just watched the last video and saw what to improve on. So that's very good. This is a lizard who is nice and warm, which I'm sure it appreciated. Oh, wait. There's more than one. There's two lizards. What do you know? A supply's inside every time. I'm comfortable opening these two next to each other because obviously they are from the same household, and if they're both sick, they have the same thing. But I highly doubt they are. I need scissors, not nail clippers. We got one. Let's do them at the same time. This one smells kind of weird. It doesn't smell like death or anything. It just smells like it might have pooped. Hello. Wait, there's one. He's little. He smells weird. I'm not sure why he smells like that. He doesn't smell... he smells musty. Let's check out the other one. These are bearded dragons, as if you didn't know. So I'm gonna hold one of them because they might not like each other. Well, you know how I just said that if they both have problems, it's gonna be both of them because they're from the same home? I was wrong. This one looks perfect. This one is pretty malnourished. You can actually see its spine from head to tail. He said, I was recently given 2 bearded dragons by my neighbors. I'm moving and can't take care of them. One looks old, maybe 10 or 11, and the other maybe 7 or 6 or 7. They both have metabolic bone disease. And their names are Hunter and Albert. I don't know how he knows their age. He's very reactive, but his body is just not looking good at all. He's actually looking worse than Stan, who is my 11-year-old bearded dragon. And he just smells weird. There's this really weird reptile smell, and it's just when reptiles are like, sometimes they just smell like that when we get them. I've never personally had an animal smell like that, and it tends to be something that I would smell when we got animals from Craigslist. I'm trying to smell you. Just let me smell you, please. So this one doesn't smell as, this one just smells weird, and I can't get over it. He looks good in the face. He looks energetic, but he's weird. So this is an example of a bad looking beardy. It looks like I'll have to give you updates on lots of these animals. I'm gonna go ahead and put these back in their bags. But looking at, say, the ball python compared to that, the ball python looks pretty hopeless. And although this beardy looks sad, I'm not actually worried about him. He could have something parasitic. We can get that checked through a fecal. Now the other one looks good, so I don't think it's definitely not something airborne or contagious, which is extremely rare, by the way, in animals. You really have to have either crypto, inclusion body disease, or maybe one or two other things, but those are pretty much the only way to have airborne illnesses in reptiles. Got a few more boxes to go. This is a lizard. It's the biggest package, and I don't know where I put the knife. Boink, boink. So they put this label inside with what the species is, and you're supposed to put it on the outside, but okay. The heat pack stayed in place. It's taped on well. They also use newspaper as padding, which works nicely. This animal could have been shipped in a smaller box. I don't know why it's in such a big box, but that's okay. This animal wasn't too happy. It also somehow got shed in here, even though the bag is sealed. Okay. Hello, how are you? Oh, he shed on the way, as we see. This is a blue-tongued skink. I'm not great at identifying types of blue-tongued skinks off the top of my head. It looks very healthy though. He's very angry. His tongue is massive. And this is exciting because we do have other blue tongues, but most of them are kind of grumpy. I don't have a ton to say about this one because it's actually a positive experience, and positive experiences aren't worth talking about. We only want the negatives. So let's move right along, shall we? I'm sure they had fun putting it in this bag. Oh, actually it was really easy. So maybe they did have fun. I just picked a random one. Feeling like Christmas over here, as you can see from my very festive lights. This is from Savannah, Georgia, which is actually a really cool city. This one came from 7 hours away or so, 5 to 7 hours. I tore the box by accident. I didn't actually look at what this is on the side, so let's keep it a surprise for me too. This heat pack did fall in. They did a pretty lame taping job. Only students who are properly registered for a course may attend and participate in this class. I thought this was a note about the animal, but it's just from SCAD University. I think it's a bearded dragon based on how it feels, but I'm gonna keep reading these. This person is taking animated capstone and film pre-production. Congratulations on your venture. I hope you have fun. Now let's check out your animal. This one looks good from what I can tell so far. Yeah, looks good. This is just a normal bearded dragon. It's on the thinner side, but it's also pretty small. Its head is a lot bigger than its body for some reason. It looks like it has some mild metabolic bone disease, which is when an animal doesn't have proper lighting. I did a video on this recently. It was called This Turtle Hasn't Had Lighting Since 1992. I showed 3 animals with metabolic bone disease. This one is very mild. It looks like it has it on the left front foot, a little bit in the tail, and maybe a little in the front right, but mostly that front left foot. It's very mild. It's not going to affect the life of this animal, so that's good to see. Although you could argue there's zero excuse for an animal to have metabolic bone disease, I would say bearded dragons are the one where it can be a little more understandable, just because when a beardy is a little tiny baby, any improper care can very quickly lead to problems. And although it is obviously avoidable because we have lots of healthy beardies with no signs, if it's your first animal and you have this little tiny one and you slip up a little bit, there is a higher chance. I'm not giving these kinds of people excuses, but if you look at something compared to a leopard gecko that gets metabolic bone disease, or some other sort of nocturnal or crepuscular species, which I accidentally called leopard geckos nocturnal in the last video, and I meant crepuscular. I mixed them up by accident. Beardies don't get an excuse for that, but I'm just not surprised since their diets are a little more complicated and they do need lighting from day one. Yeah, basically it's pretty hard, and I don't mind the foot being a little messed up, even if it would be better if it wasn't. He looks good though. Or she. Yes, look, I have to look down here. What do you expect? This is actually a male, so yeah. This male beardie also has clogged pores, which seems very common in bearded dragons. They have femoral pores on their back legs that secrete these oils, mostly for marking spaces, and they very often get clogged and people don't realize it, where the average beardie that we get does have clogged pores. You can avoid that by bathing them weekly, checking the pores, making sure there's nothing sticking out. You can brush them lightly with a toothbrush just to make sure they don't get too clogged, because they are a pain to get out. This one is a snake, not a lizard, coming from Tennessee. This is the dullest knife I've ever used. Heat pack is in place, that's good. Feels very skinny. Not as skinny as the other one, but this is a ball python. Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs. Oh god. Never mind, this one's not gonna die, this one's gonna be fine. But from here I can tell it has multiple stuck eye caps. Stuck eye caps on a ball python is when you don't have proper humidity and the eyes are going to be fogged over with multiple layers of shed. If this stays on long enough, it will cause eye damage and potentially permanent blindness. There are other little bits of stuck shed. They're in the most common... Oh god. The end of the tail is definitely going to fall off. There's no way this animal is keeping its tail. It looks so bad. This is extremely common. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be. It's easy to avoid, but it's when the animal sheds every part of its body just fine, except for the eyes and the tail. So I don't know why this means eyes and why this means tail, but it does. It shouldn't be that hard to fix. I can probably fix it on camera. So I'll do that right after I get some extra shots of it, and I'll show you that. I'll do just close up.
Yeah, my nails look gross though.
The tail, I said in the video, the tail's definitely gonna come off. I guess I should have warned you. That was just a normal ball python. Pretty standard other than the fact that it had those issues. And the last package we have, it's another lizard coming from Oregon. Salem, in fact. So total there are 9 animals. I think I said 8 at the beginning because I didn't know there were 2 dragons in that one. The heat pack fell off. Cool. Smells bad. I don't know what it did in here, but I don't want to see it. Cool. It immediately made my head hurt. I'm hoping it pooped in this bag because if it didn't, that just means this lizard smells awful. What did you do? This is not a warm welcome. I don't like this first impression. It's not at all a warm welcome. He's cute though. This is another little bearded dragon. What do you know? It has metabolic bone disease. Wow. Who knew bearded dragons could get metabolic bone disease? Whoa. You know how 3 seconds ago I said how I don't mind MBD as much in dragons? Well, I changed my mind because it's getting really annoying. And the majority of the lizards we got today have metabolic bone disease, which is completely avoidable if you just put lights and feed them a normal diet. I'm gonna hold his back and make him walk. Okay, he doesn't want to walk, but it looks bad. His tail is good though. He's pretty underweight. You can actually see his hip bones a little bit, which just means he isn't fed enough or that he doesn't eat enough. His jaw is a little bit wonky. This looks actually kind of a bit like a lizard we sold recently named Finn, who has his own Twitter account. Follow Finn's Twitter account. This one reminds me of him a little bit. I think Finn's a little cuter, but this one's still cool as well. It's not super strong, it's not super weak, it's kind of down the middle, which is unfortunately average, even though it should be a lot better. It's just the front legs look so stupid. Nothing personal, but your legs are stupid. Okay, it's alright, mine are too. Oh, also his back toes, but only his longest of his back toes are completely bent. That's so weird. I've never what? He doesn't like me talking about his toes. I will eat your toes. Shut up, sir. So this is the last lizard here in the second unboxing video. The first one did oddly well. I don't know why so many people clicked on a reptile unboxing, but welcome back. Watch this one get like 4.5 views. It's okay, I understand, but yeah. So there we go. We had bearded dragons, ball pythons, a blue-tongued skink, a red-foot tortoise, and a pretty cool little collection here. All these animals will eventually be available at emeraldscales.com where we sell them. If you would like updates on anything I'm doing, you can join the mailing list down below. And I think these will all be perfectly fine, except for that one ball python who I have very little hope for. We'll see how it does. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, because that's where I give daily updates throughout the day, because that's what daily means, is throughout the day. I am great at making videos. Oh, let's see if this one's male or female. Whoop. This one is female. So, wow, a male and a female with metabolic bone disease. I can breed them and get metabolic bone disease squared. That's not how it works. I won't breed them. I'm Alex. Thanks for watching.